Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We do so enjoy doing videos about the Greens. They offer excellent value for money. Well, in terms of YouTubing anyway. Myself and many others always enjoy seeing what they have to say or watching the new policy announcements because they're always moronic, wrong, open to question on so many fronts and generally completely rippable within seconds of them being announced. The DRS scheme, for example, which is what we'll be talking about here, has already been pushed back to March. That's right, pushed back, which is policy speak for abandoned, because by March I think the Greens will be out of government. I think even by then the SNP will have had enough of them. And we've got Lorna Slater, who also is a boon to anyone who enjoys making YouTube videos about morons in power. Well, Tesco's, one of the biggest supermarkets in the world, has said that their bottle deposit scheme is unworkable. They refuse to facilitate it. They're not interested in any part of it because it's not UK wide. They don't want to chop and change their policy just for regional variations, as they put it. So we'll take a look at this article, see what's going on and see why, yet again, Lorna Slater, her bright idea, has been ridiculed and shown up for the absolute fail fest it undoubtedly is. Here goes. Right then, hang on to your hats. You know, if Tesco say it isn't going to work, it isn't going to work. Tesco employs some of the brightest minds to make sure that everything they do is efficient and good. And this is why they're so big. They don't muck about. If they want to do something, they do it. They do it fast and they do it well. They're a big professional organisation that will throw millions at ideas to see if they're viable. And they say this isn't. So Lorna Slater humiliated as Tesco says the deposit return scheme must be UK wide. And of course it won't ever be UK wide. The British government have rejected it, saying that it's unworkable and open to massive amounts of fraud. They're not against the principle. It's just that this particular formation of it just doesn't work. And what I noticed quite ironically is you have a picture of a Tesco's bag with shopping in it, and then you have Lorna Slater, and there's a picture of what is undoubtedly meat. And then, you know, she is being famously a vegetarian or possibly even a vegan. And so the Tesco are sort of slamming it up. We'll put a picture of meat there just to really rub it in. Anyway, alongside the supermarket, retailers say their online sales are at risk after the Green Minister ignored valid concerns and pushed ahead with an unworkable, unsustainable and undeliverable ultimatum. Well, of course she ignores valid concerns. She's not interested in hearing facts. She's not interested in hearing things that go against what goes on in the inner workings of her tiny mind. She only wants the world to work in the way she sees fit. She will push on with this. She will waste millions of pounds simply so she can say, well, we've done this. Meanwhile, it doesn't work. It destroys things. And the supermarket saying, no, unless you can come up with some way of making it work, we're not going to do it. And she can't, because she's not intellectually strong enough to come up with ideas that work. She's great at coming up with ideas that sound good until you think about them, and then having thought about them, realise that they're utterly terrible ideas. If you need something like that, she's your girl. Anyway, Green Minister Lorna Slater has been told that her bottle return scheme will not be economically viable unless she can agree on a UK-wide approach by one of the UK's biggest supermarkets. The report from Tesco's, I keep doing Tesco's and I know it's Tesco singular. The report from Tesco finds that if the Scottish Government ministers continue to go it alone, its sustainability will be compromised, adding that a joined-up approach across the UK must be adopted. But it won't be, because the UK government will not do it, at least not in this particular form. This comes as ministers publish the updated legislation that Miss Slater has long claimed is industry-led. She claims that, but it turns out that, like so much else that the Greens say, and the SNP, they're in this together, it's a lie. It's not industry-led. What is industry-led is people saying, no, we don't want it, it won't work. It'll cost a fortune. It's economic madness. That's what the industry are saying. And yet she still insists on this lie that this bottle return scheme is industry-led. Load of old crap, isn't it? Anyway, it's now accused of putting the vital online sales of retailers at risk by compelling retailers to deliver an online take-back model for their single-use plastic sales. They don't know how to do this. But she's saying that, oh no, people who buy stuff online, it must be collected by the people who delivered it. Well, you might only have a delivery once. What are you going to do? You can't walk it back to the store because it was an online delivery. You have to get them to come out and pick it up. Ta-da! There you see, there's the problem. And also, have you considered the damage to the environment and sending all these vans out to go and pick up these little bits of plastic one at a time? The cost implications are massive and the damage to the environment huge. Anyway, Tesco is one of 5 major retailers to back amendments to the bottle return scheme, the deposit return scheme. And it said that the targets for removing plastic from store products will not be met unless a UK-wide agreement can be met. But of course, here's the thing. If, amazingly, Scotland gets its independence, then there is no UK-wide market. There's England and Wales, and then there's Scotland as an independent country. And anything they do won't ever be pushed across into England because different country. So they're trying to square a circle here, the Greens. They're saying, oh no, we can do it in Scotland first, but Scotland's not an independent country, and the only way they can do it is if it was an independent country, but they're never going to get that. Very weird people, aren't they? I use the word weird. Stupid. They're very stupid people, aren't they? Anyway, the food retailer said already 500 million pieces of unnecessary plastic had been identified and removed. This included more than 30 million plastic yoghurt lids, 29 million pieces of plastic from line scale tablets packaging, and almost 24 million plastic windows from donut packs. I've got to be honest, I am responsible for an awful lot of them. I love jammy donuts. Nom nom nom. Bosses now argue that the different regulations across the UK mean the initiatives will struggle to reach a national scale. Because you've got what goes on in Scotland, you've got what goes on in England, what goes on in Ireland, what goes on in Wales. They're all different rules, different regulations. There's no UK-wide scheme. It's a weird system, but it's the system they all want. They all wanted devolution. They didn't want a UK-wide set of laws. They all wanted their own little laws. They've got them, and now they're moaning that their laws are different from English laws. There is an answer. Give up devolution, hand all the devolved powers back to Westminster, and then push for it to go from Westminster, and then see what happens. That could be the Greens' next policy stance, couldn't it? Union. Good for you. Anyway, bosses now argue that the different regulations mean the different initiatives will struggle to reach this national scale, as I said. The report said, having multiple different approaches within the UK jeopardises the sustainability and viability of schemes, and a joined up approach across the UK must be adopted. And then, of course, Lorna Slater just cannot handle it. She is not wise enough, not clever enough. It goes on a bit. But she just doesn't know how to deal with this problem because she is in partnership with a group, the SNP, that want to maintain all their own laws, and they don't want to share laws across the border. So you, Lorna Slater, have got to come up with a really bright idea of how to make this work. And let's face it, you've had 2.5 years and you haven't yet. And there we go. I shall round off and come up. To be fair, it's very easy to mock the Greens, and particularly Lorna Slater. And that's why we do it so often. No point having a hard life when you can have an easy one. But they are low-hanging fruit when it comes to it, aren't they? I mean, they come up with these bright ideas. And I used the word bright entirely incorrectly there. But they come up with these ideas and they think, oh yes, this sounds like a good idea. But what they don't do is think about the implications of what they say, think about the consequences. They don't think about the costs. They don't think, and this is the other thing, not just the direct costs, they don't think of the opportunity costs. They don't look at what doing A will mean to B will mean to C. There's no chain of events thinking to this. It's just, bright idea, let's implement it. They are morons. And long may they stay in power. Because the longer they stay in that parliament, the more likely people will vote elsewhere next time, and the quicker the SNP will crumble and fail. So she is doing one thing right. She is utterly destroying the credibility of the Scottish government. Well done, Lorna. Got to get something right, haven't you? Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you've seen here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button there. Ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video, but definitely leave a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Stay well out of the way of Lorna because she's so thick it might rub off. And goodbye.